Welcome everybody. Good afternoon. Here we have gentle yoga, nice, easy, mellow style yoga. We're going to start off in the reclined position, supine, on your spine, on your back. And let's first start off by finding a comfortable position lying down. And I'd like for you just to investigate and see if when you lay flat with your legs all the way down, if your back feels good. If you feel a little discomfort in your low back when you lay flat like this, raise your hand and I'm going to bring a bolster for you to slide under your knees. Or the other way you can go is just bend your knees, widen your feet, and put your knees together and create a little lean-to shape. And that sometimes that changes the tilt in your pelvis ever so slightly, and it can take some of that pressure that you may feel in your low back. Good. So once you set yourself up in a comfortable spot, close your eyes and begin to breathe through your nose, just through the nose. So in through the nose and out through the nose. So mouth closed. And begin with some deep diaphragmatic breaths so that when you breathe in through your nose, press the belly up. And when you breathe out of your nose, just try to let the belly drop down. Do it again. Breathe in through your nose, press your belly up. And breathe out of your nose and just relax the belly completely. Good, let's do that again. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, one more together here. Inhale. And exhale. Great. Okay, bring your legs together and take your arms above your head. And try to imagine if we got the tape measure out and we wanted to see how long you are from your toes to your fingertips. See if you can get about an inch longer. So point your feet, reach your arms, squeeze your thighs, squeeze your belly, straighten your arms, and try to reach as strong as you can, as long as you can. And then go ahead and relax. Let your legs relax. See if you can just keep your arms above your head relaxed. If you have any shoulder discomfort when you try to lay your arms down this high above your head, then just lower your arms out into a T shape and rest them here. So find a spot where you don't have any discomfort in your shoulder, that it actually feels good just to let your arms relax completely. Good, and now do a few deep diaphragmatic breaths. Breathe in through your nose and let the belly rise up. Feel the skin stretch on the belly. Exhale, breathe, let your belly relax, and just let your rib cage deflate. And then inhale, breathe, inflate your lungs. Feel the rib cage expand and stretch. And as you exhale, breathe, let your belly drop, and let the rib cage relax. Let's do one more together here. Inhale, full deep breath in, expand the lungs, the chest. And exhale, breathe, let your whole body relax. Good. Now take your arms down beside your body, side body again. Bend your both knees up towards your chest. Grab your knees with your hands and start to pull your knees down towards your chest. And if you can take your arms and wrap them around about 2 inches below your knees, and one hand perhaps can grab the other hand or other wrist, and then let the weight of the arms pulling down against the sides or front of your knees compress your thigh bones against your belly, and just try to relax your back. If you have, as I suggest, all these different poses that we're going to move into, if you have pain when you go into them and you want to soften the intensity of anything, just don't go as far. Just take it to a point where, now we've always heard no pain, no gain, but that's a more of a sliding scale element, because we can still feel a little discomfort and get the benefit of stretching and opening the body, but without totally, pulling so strong that it's so intense that maybe we exacerbate the issue. So we want to just kind of experiment. I encourage you to experiment with, going deep, or in some cases backing off, and just see if you can find like a happy medium where your body's opening and you can really relax the nervous system. So we're going to go into the rest and repair mode in the nervous system, and just let the body release. And let your jaw relax. So if you have a habit of clenching, grinding, just kind of let that all soften for a moment. Relax your jaw. Just try to make your jaw feel nice and mellow. Nice and easy. Good. As you pull the knees down and toward the body, try to rock a little bit right and left. See if you can roll or rock side to side a couple times. And we're on the nice firm surface of the yoga mat, the wood floor, the floor. And as you rock, just we can use the mat as like a massage tool. And you just roll side to side on this nice firm surface. And just relax or massage the back by rolling or rocking side to side. Just do that a couple times. Feel where you're at your hips and low back when you go from one side to the other. You're just rocking across the muscles there on the hips. And then land in the middle and relax both feet down with your knees bent. Let's try a bridge pose. Relax your arms down on the body. Either reach down towards your ankles or just place your palms flat on the floor. Okay, tuck your chin in towards your throat and just press your feet down and lift your hips up off of the ground. And just work on stretching your hips. Here the stretch is the front of your hips. This action is called hip extension. As you push down, the front of your thighs open, your quads, your psoas, and you can feel probably some pressure between your shoulder blades, your upper back, and just relax your neck as much as you can. As you make bridge, press your feet down, a little higher, lift your hips, and then go ahead and lower, nice and slow, your hips back down. Okay, take your arms out to either side of your body and tip or lean both of your knees over to the right and turn your head over to the left and create what's called supine twist. When you're laying on your back and we twist, supine twist. Good, so feel how much pressure there is in the hip, and ideally do nothing and let gravity do the work for you. So you just angle. We're just using angles with our body and gravity and the physics of aligning the feet and leaning the legs. It's causing the muscles on the outside edge of your hip to stretch. And a big part of gentle yoga is just surrender, at least on these poses when we're laying down. Just try to relax completely and continue to breathe through your nose. So as you breathe in through the nose, fill the lungs. Breathe out of the nose, let your body release. Just keep your attention in this process of just observing the inhalation and the exhalation. So it's a very simple meditation technique to pay attention to the breath, but also to feel the breath. So in other words, you're not in a hurry to breathe, or create the feeling I have plenty of time to breathe. Or another thing that usually happens is the stress levels begin to drop. And we can actually take our attention to even getting subtle enough that we can feel the breath, the subtlety of the breath. Often when we're in high stress mode, the last thing in the world we're aware of is our breath. So what we're doing here is we're trying to become aware of breath, and this has the automatic effect of calming the nerve system. Let's try the other side. Bring your knees up, lift them so they're vertical, tip your knees left, and turn your head right, and just release and relax over on this side. When we're laying down, and if you're more comfortable with your eyes closed, then go ahead and close your eyes. If you like the eyes open technique, look out over to the right and just soft gaze, pick a spot. All right, and then see if the level of pressure that gravity applies as you relax, if you can sustain or handle, and if it feels good, great, just soak it up. If it's a little challenging, remember you can modify any and all positions to make it suitable for you. Good, just take a couple more breaths here. And remember, the nose breath is what we're striving for, but if you do need to open the mouth and breathe just to make it easier, yeah, that's totally fine. But if you can get enough air in through your nose, go ahead and close the mouth and just continue with the nose breathing. In through nose, out through nose. Very good. All right, bring your both knees back up and your head neutral. Bring your right knee in toward the chest, interlock your 10 fingers, grab your right knee. Pavanamuktasana, when removing pose, pull your right knee down, and then take your left leg and just lower it down to the floor. And when you let your left leg come down nice and straight, relax it, and then pull your right knee. See if you can pull in a little bit deeper. And just feel, there's a couple of benefits in this pose. One of them is the hip opening that we're doing, the stretching into the musculature in your hip. This is called hip flexion when you have your leg, when you have this angle closed. And as you pull, just really you're working with your arms, and the leg, the hip ideally is relaxed. And the right thigh presses on the right side of your belly. And this is where your ascending colon is. And so you just use the pull to get some pressure there and relax the abdomen. And still breathe, feel how the belly's still going up and down, but it's predominantly emphasized over on the left side of your belly. That's the side that will be able to move. But the right side, you got that nice compression there. So you're gonna just keep holding it, get a good strong squeeze. Good. Now, release some of that pressure, but keep holding your right knee with your left hand. Put your right hand on the floor. Pull the right knee across the center line of your body and roll on your left hip. And here we're creating another supine twist, but in this one we can go a little deeper. Use the counter weight of your right arm off over the right side as a way to, that's holding your shoulder down more or less. And as you draw the leg across the middle, feel your right hip stretch on the outside edge. And just try to breathe a couple times. And it's like you're putting pressure on a specific point on the side of your hip in terms of stretching pressure. And just sustain it. And because we're holding a little longer here, this will give time for you to get into the pose, to feel what's going on, to give ample time for some sort of effect to occur or change or transformation. And as you breathe in and out, you might notice that the belly going out, belly going out, belly going in, that creates just a little bit of movement, just a tiny bit of movement, and that can help to kind of encourage the body to release. Good, let's come out of the position, just go ahead and slowly roll back, and then lower your right leg all the way down to the ground, and let your right leg relax. And take your left knee and bring it up, and interlock your grip, and grab your left knee 2 inches below, and pull your left knee down toward the left shoulder, and just relax into the hips. Specifically, feel the crease in your left hip. Create pressure of your left thigh into your belly. Give a good, strong squeeze. Hug the leg in. Good. See if your left hip feels the same or different than the right hip. And you can treat each side accordingly. So if your left hip is really inflamed, you can back off the pressure, or it might actually feel really good to stretch into it. But definitely give yourself the space to explore and see what works well for you. What's really fascinating with yoga, with the body, basically, with our bodies, is that one person will have a little bit of hip pain and they'll pull really, really hard and their left hip will feel great after. Another person will do the exact same thing, have a little hip pain, they pull really hard and the hip hurts a little more after. And so that's why there's not like a one-size-fits-all approach. But if you experiment, you can start to figure out what does work for you. So I do encourage you to, on some days, try a little more, some days try a little less, and see if you can start to kind of map it out and see what sort of outcome occurs. All right, go ahead and release the pressure, hold your left knee with your right hand, put your left hand on the floor, just pull the left leg, excuse me, across the midline of the body, roll over onto the right side of your hip, let the counterweight of your left arm hold the left shoulder down, and create a twist motion for your spinal column. And just breathe in and out, breathe in and out, steady rhythm, create a rhythm with the breath. So you breathe in for about 4 seconds, breathe out for about 4 seconds. If you're able to breathe in a little longer, like 5 or 6 seconds, you can even make the breath, you can stretch the breath out as well. The breath can be shallow, the breath can be deep. I like to let you just kind of figure out a rhythm that feels good for you. Just pull the leg across the body. Great. All right, let's return to neutral. Slowly roll again onto your back and release and lower your left leg all the way down to the floor. Okay, now we're going to do the side leg position. That means bend your both knees, take your right arm above your head, roll on your right side body, lay your head on your right arm, lay your left arm right on the side of your body, or you can put your hand on the floor in front of you, and just lay on your side for a moment. Feel your right hip. It's a good way to put like pressure on that point there on your right hip. You have a bony landmark on the side of your hip socket. It's your femur. It's the edge of your femur. So you might feel a little pressure there against the floor. All right, we're going to come up. Put your left hand down. Slowly push up. Let's go to child's pose. So come all the way around. Now, if when you go on your hands and knees, if your nose feels extremely bony or even just a little bony, and you want to put a blanket on the floor, you can create a cushion. Another great idea, if you have an old yoga mat, cut like a little 8-inch strip off of it, and you can make a little extra padding that you can always use for certain positions where you feel like it's too bony. All right, go ahead and point your toes and bring your hips back towards your heels. Another reason is sometimes when some of us, if we have knee replacement, there can be like bolts still in there that stick out, and when the pressure of the bolt goes right on the floor, it's real painful, from what I understand. So that way we can come up with a strategy to work with whatever we got going on. All right, so in child's pose, if you can drop your head down on the floor or relax it on the floor, just try to just let a whole upper body just release and relax. That's good. Everybody looks like they already know what to do, but just so I cover all my bases, if it does hurt, because like we don't want to assume the child's pose is an easy pose, because for some of us it's a tricky one. So what you can do is just don't bend your knees all the way. Put the weight on your forearms, and that way you can control how much bend happens in your knees. And that way you can find a happy medium. If you can go into the full pressure stretch, then just go ahead and go for it. And just take a couple deep breaths. And just feel how when you breathe in, your rib cage expands. And as you breathe out, the body drops down a little. And you breathe in, and the belly pushes against the front of your legs. And as you breathe out, the whole body drops down a little. And you breathe in, and the expansion through the rib cage, you have the filling of the lungs, and you breathe out, and just let your body drop. So again, it's very subtle, the movement that'll happen, but every single breath does have an effect on the pose. So you use the feeling, the sensation, the awareness of the breath as the meditation technique for dropping deeper down into stillness and into the present moment. Just relax here for a few more. Good. Slowly come up onto your hands and your knees and bring your knees and your feet together. And let's do a cow and a cat pose. Align your knees under your hips, your hands under your shoulders. In a cow pose, lift your chin and your tailbone look up. Exhale, breathe to a cat pose. Round your spine like a Halloween cat. Look towards your navel. Inhale, breathe. Lift your chin. Drop your belly and ribcage, chest, and create a back bend. Exhale, breathe. Drop your head down from pressure on hands and knees and round your back. Inhale, breathe, raise your chin, go again to the cow, lift your chin, look up. Exhale, breathe, drop your head down, push, feel the muscles on your back expand. Let's do one more. Inhale, breathe, feel the muscles on the back contract as you drop down into it. Exhale, breathe, drop your head, round your spine, get a deep stretch, look towards your navel. Good. Come to neutral spine, bring your knees and feet together, take your right leg, stretch it back, curl your toes under. Push back into your heel stretch. Try to stretch your Achilles tendon area, your ankle, your calf. Give a good strong press. Shift the weight now forward onto your hands and left knee. Raise your right leg in the air to about the height of your hip. If you want more challenge, lean on your right hand and take your left arm and reach straight forward and strengthen your spine by lifting the arm and the leg. It's too tricky with the arm up. Don't worry about the arm. Just focus on the leg. Okay, lower your arm down, lower your right knee down, bring your knees together. Take your left leg, straighten it out, curl your toes under, put the ball of the foot on the floor. Push into your hands, kind of like if you're pushing into a down dog, and put all that pressure into your left calf stretching. That's good. Excellent, Diane. Breathe, inhale, exhale, strong stretch. Okay, now take pressure off that, put it on your hands and that right knee, raise your left leg in the air about the height of your hip. If you can handle more challenge, lean the weight on your left hand, take your right arm and stretch forward. Strengthen your spine, good, stabilize with control. Hold your vision steady at a point, and then release, bring your hand down, bring your left leg down. Now I'm going to make down dog optional. I'm going to give you two options. Option A, downward dog, press into your palms, press your heels toward the floor and drop your head. Option B, puppy dog, keep your knees on the floor, toes curled under, come down like child's pose and press into the toes. So either way, you'll get great benefit. We'll get some stretching going on. Breathe in through the nose, out through the nose. Keep your eyes open. You are upside down. This does send a bunch of blood to the head. Great way to stretch your hamstrings as you press your knees back. Good, Ruthann. Keep breathing through the nose. Again, nice and steady. Excellent. All right, come down on your hands and your knees. Take your right foot forward, balance on your left knee. With your right foot forward, we're gonna lunge. Keep your left knee on the ground and bend your right knee and come as far forward as you can. Just go nice and slow. Put pressure into your hip. Now what sometimes happens is if your right foot is too far back, when you lunge forward, your heel will come up in the air. So then what I want you to do is to come back, take your right foot more forward, little inchworms, and then lean again, and that way your right heel can bear weight. And then just stretch into your hip. Excellent, good. Good point. If you like to use blocks, sometimes it's hard to put your hands on the floor to reach. So if you put two blocks down that are equidistant or height, you can lean on the blocks, and sometimes that makes it a little easier because you can gauge pressure. Now, before we straighten the back leg, let's try the modified warrior. Okay, lean back, balance on your left knee and right foot and put both hands on your hips and steer your hips so they're square to the front. And then feel your belly, and instead of like back bending, try to take your ribs and draw them in toward or pull in. Okay, now see if you can hold this and release your arms and raise your arms above your head. And take your hands about shoulder width apart. And now challenge your balance. Slowly raise your gaze and look up in between your hands and reach up while we hold on our left knee. And just breathe a few times as you hold. And if you try to lift the gaze and you find that throws you off a little, bring your gaze again forward or down. All right, excellent. Now release. We're going to try the full warrior one. So if you put your hands on the floor, what we want to do now is try to curl our back toes under and straighten the back leg. If you can drop your back heel down, this will help with your balance. Okay, keep your right leg straight. Keep your right knee bent. If you put your right hand on your knee, you can press up. If you can get all the way up, take your arms up above again, like we did in the modified warrior. So now the full warrior, here we have deep right knee bending, Back leg nice and strong, nice and straight. That's good. Try Charlie if you can. Straighten your back leg. Excellent, just like that. Squeeze that nice and firm. Okay, now let's turn it into Warrior B. Bring your right arm forward, drop your left arm back. Excellent, good, Carolyn. And then reach your arms apart. Like think someone's pulling your right arm forward and someone's pulling your left arm back like they're having a tug of war with you. So, but create that sensation all by yourself. And then just bend your right knee and come down a little bit lower. Good. And then we're going to release. Bring your right hand on your right knee and bring your left hand down and bring your left knee to the floor. Put your right hand down and bring your right leg back. Good. Let's take pressure off the knees and come all the way down onto your belly. Now, earlier we were laying on our back with our arms above the head. Let's try now laying on the belly with our arms above the head. And with your head, see if you can just tuck your chin and touch your forehead on the floor without hurting your nose. Like don't squish your nose, obviously. But figure I'll cover all my bases. All right, so with your arms, remember how we just did that little like inchworm with the toes? Try to inchworm your fingers on the floor. Like grip the floor with your fingertips and try to like stretch your shoulders a little more forward. Now, naturally, if you're rehabbing a shoulder injury, this might be a little too far. And so just one thing you could do is don't do what we were just doing. Take your elbows bending and then just find a spot where your shoulders feel good. Okay, now the idea is to completely relax. We're using the floor as a stretching tool. And we're just putting our full body weight down against this tool and just let the body kind of lengthen out. Now, this is a good back pain posture as it does decompress the spinal column. Laying on the belly is considered a really great way on a really firm, flat surface. This is like as opposed to like a really soft mattress. Getting on a firm, flat surface is part of the key. And just let your back expand. All right, so now lift your head, take your hands, let's try Cobra, pull your hands underneath your shoulders so your palms are flat, your elbows are bending, bring them in a little closer toward the sides of your body. With your legs, straighten your legs all the way, point the feet, tighten your thighs, and just try to lift your chin off the floor, but don't really push with your arms. Let's just target strengthening our back muscles and our hip muscles. So we're doing hip extension. You tighten your glutes, you lift the chin, you lift the chest, just lift to a point where you can engage, your back feels good, and then gently release, lower back down. This time, try to make your arms like they're goalposts and turn your head over to the right and relax your left cheekbone down and just fully relax your neck. Great job. And if you are going through some neck challenges and you need to make a pillow with your hands under your head, you can do so and just figure a way that your neck feels good. But if you're able to rest your head all the way over to the side, go ahead and go for it. And just turn your head all the way to the right. All right, let's do another variation of a back bend. This one is called Sphinx pose. It's kind of like what we just did, but a little different. Go ahead and take your elbows and prop them underneath your shoulders. Good, Carolyn, yep. So that now with your hands, you can either put your palms flat or you can interlace your 10 fingers or hands together like prayer style, either way. And notice that if you push down, your collarbones lift a little higher. Let's try the opposite effect. Go ahead and hang down in between your shoulders so you're aware of the difference. Okay, and then, but when you do this, there's not much pressure on the lower back. But let's go back to where we push down a little bit and try to lift your collarbones up through the shoulders. Now, if you do this and your back doesn't feel good, then you know what to do. Lower down again. Try to find that sweet spot where your back is bending, but the pressure is just the right amount, where you feel a little bit of pressure, but you're not really forcing it to bend. More like you just kind of think like you're encouraging your spine to do a really natural approach, like a super easy approach to bending. That way you just go segment by segment, just kind of feel where the pressure is. Okay, and then to come out of it, go nice and slow, just kind of release the bend. And then turn your head over to the left. So you can goal post the arms again if you like, or you can use hands like pillow. And relax here. Great job. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out of your nose. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out of the nose. Breathe in through your nose. And breathe out of the nose. Okay, great job. All right, so let's transition. So what I'm going to have you do is take your hands, bring them under your shoulders, kind of like we did in Cobra. We're going to peel up. We're going to go back to working those lunge positions on the other side. So we did a little series that was, let's go to child's pose. We did a little series that we did all on the right side. Then we just did some back bending. Now we're going to go to that whole series on the left side. All right, come up onto your hands and knees. We're going to come into a lunge position. So you take your left foot forward. So you're on your left foot and your right knee. Remember to try to get your foot far enough forward that when you go for the lunge, your left heel remains grounded on the floor. Good, Susan. Correct. Good idea. And the blocks can be helpful if you like, or if you're able to get full palm press down on the floor, then just reach into the hips. Stretch into your hips. Keep the right knee on the floor still. Breathe, inhale and exhale. Breathe through your nose. Steady rhythm. In and out. Good again. And out. All right, well done. Let's do the modified warrior. So that means lean the weight back on your right knee, your left foot. See if you can balance with your hands on your hips. Try to square your hips to the front of the room. Instead of arching back, take your ribs in front and draw them down. And then take your arms above your head. Good. And then the final part to challenge the balance. See if you can shift your gaze. Look up between the hands. And stay with the balance. And breathe in and out. One more breath. Nice, everybody. Release and bring your hands down. Now we're going to try the full warrior. So curl your back toes under, straighten your back leg, drop the right heel down, put your left hand on your left knee, push into your left leg. Try when your chest is up, square it to the front. Well done. Straighten your back leg, squeeze your thigh, come into the lunge with your left knee. If you can still balance and look up, raise the gaze. Warrior B, drop your left arm forward. Good, right arm back. Imagine that tug of war again. Someone's pulling your left arm forward. Someone at the same time is pulling your right arm back. Arms really strong across the midline. And then look over your left arm, right down to your left hand. Good, and then release. Bring your hands on the floor. Bring your right knee down. Take your left leg back. Good. You're on your hands and knees. Let's do a cow to cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Good. Now we're going to stand. Take one foot, then the other, and land your feet about hip width apart. First, slowly stand all of the way up. Keep your feet hip distance apart. And to go into the first forward bend, try to bend your knees, put your hands on your knees. Next is to come down and put your elbows on your knees. Next, if you can press your knees all the way back. Next would be to grab a hold of the opposing elbows and let your whole body hang. You could also, there's a whole bunch of variations that you can employ. You can put your hands on the floor. You can grab a hold of your ankles. The main idea is just find something, pick something, and go with it. Let your back stretch as you hang. And remember, if you need to, just bend your knees a little bit. If you have back pain or hamstring pain, bend your knees. If you just feel tight, press your knees as far back as you can. Try to relax the upper body, or meaning the torso and the whole spine. Good. Okay, let's slowly bend the knees. Come all the way back up. Chair pose. Take your arms forward so your hands are about shoulder width apart, palms are down, 5 fingers together. Okay, bend your knees, stick your hips back a little bit, and then keep your balance and just come down as low as you can, not much lower than your hip height of your knee height, hip to knee height. Use your legs, power in your legs, and then press and come all the way up. Good, relax your arms down. Okay, now take your arms above your head. Good, either interlace your 10 fingers or grab your left wrist, reach up, and stretch over toward the right into a half moon pose. Press your hips to the left as you reach to the right. Good. Press your right shoulder a little forward, expand open on the left side of the body, come down slightly deeper, and then come back to the middle. If you grab the wrist, switch grip, left hand, right wrist, press your hips to the right, stretch over to the left, open your right side body, continue breathing. Good, inhale, exhale. Okay, nice, sit down, come all the way back to middle, stretch up really tall, relax your arms down slowly, bring your hands on your lower back. Support, press your hips a little forward. See how far can you drop your head back to where it's comfortable. Some of us can go into full neck extension where the head hangs and it feels great. If though you got to go back and you got a little pinch in there, don't go back, keep your head up, and just work on pressing your hips and thighs forward. Feel your low back, press just enough where it feels good. Good, and slowly release. Bring your hands on your knees. Try cat pose with hands on knees. That means round your spine, push down against your knees, kind of tuck your tailbone through your legs to really stretch your spine. Good, then bring it neutral again and come all the way back to standing. Everybody turn, face toward the side of the room, and then take your right foot and step out wide to the right. Good. Okay, put your hands onto your hips and fold down. Now, one option can be to put your hands on your knees, just like we were doing with the feet. We're just going wider with the feet now. If you can get your hands on the floor, another way to get the hands to the floor is put the blocks on the ground where your hands would go, and then put your hands on the blocks. Now, what I want you to try to do, wherever you've landed, is just see if you can rock a little forward and back. If you don't have your hands on the floor, then I think you can still do this, but it's just gonna be super simple. Like, don't rock so far forward that you fall. You know, again, I assume you know that, but I'll cover my bases. Easy rocking, so you don't fall. Okay, what I want you to try to do is rock the weight a little forward onto your hands and see if you can press your knees back. And once you get your knees back, just lean back a little bit onto your heels again. See if you can coordinate that kind of movement. Let's try that again. I want you to lean forward on your hands a little bit and bend your knees. Okay, lean a little bit on your hands, try to push your knees back. And then lean the weight back on the heels a little tiny bit. Good job. Okay, we're going to come back up, lean the weight on the hands so that you can then, actually I take that back. Put all the weight on your feet so you can take your hands up and come all the way back up. Good. Now, stretch your arms apart. Pivot on your right heel, turn your right toes toward the back or the door you came in. Bend the right knee. And either put your right hand on your knee or put your right elbow on your knee. Now take your left arm and you can either try to stretch straight up to the ceiling. If I was nursing a left side shoulder rotator cuff injury, I might decide to keep my arm down on my body. If your shoulder feels good, reach it straight up. If your shoulder still feels good, try to reach the arm all the way above your head. So the left arm comes in line with the left leg. That's good. Excellent, Megan. Keep breathing. In and out. Good, Susan. Through the nose. Good. Okay, let's try the other side. Press into the right leg. Come all the way up. Reach your arms apart. Pivot on the right heel. Turn your right toes in. Pivot on the left heel. Turn the left toes out. Bend into your left knee. Either bring your hand on your knee or your elbow down. And then with the right arm, remember the idea with the shoulder, you can always modify anything to make it appropriate for your rehab strategy. If you can reach up straight up and or even reach your arm above your head, feel how that stretches the skin and muscle on the right side of your waist, right side of your body, your torso, your chest, your side chest, side ribs, through your shoulder joint, all the way out to your fingertips. Good. And let's come back up, press into your left leg, come all the way up. Let's step our feet back together and resume facing forward. And let's move into a balance pose. Let's do one balance pose. Let's go for tree pose. So tree pose, we're going to bend our right knee. And what you do is you turn your right knee out. And the idea in the beginning is to put all of the weight on your left leg. One way that you can do this is to keep your big toe on the floor. Some of you are going to be able to lift your foot and put it on your calf. Some of you are going to be able to lift the foot and grab the foot and bring it up on your inner thigh. If you're able to sustain your balance, and you're welcome to use the wall if you need, see if you can raise your arms above your head and grow as tall as possible. So again, we don't need to get the tape measure out, but just think, I want to try to touch the ceiling. And the middle fingers are the longest fingers, so that's the first fingertip that would touch the ceiling, would be the middle. Try to reach up through that part of your hands, through your arms, through your shoulders, through the torso, belly in, strong through your left leg, and then slowly release and lower your arms down, and lower your right leg back down. Good. Try the other side, place your right foot, open it out a little bit, see if you can put your foot onto your calf. You might be able to grab the ankle, and pull the foot up nice and high. And fix your gaze. If you can raise your arms, stretch up above. And again, think from the sole of your foot through the fingertips of the hands. They're as far apart from each other as they can get. So we elongate the body, working against gravity. Gravity's pushing us down, and we're building strength by resisting up. Stretch up tall. Good. And release and let your arms come down. And lower your left leg and bring your feet back down. Good. Come all the way up to the top of your mat. And we'll transition through a sun salutation motion. So we'll begin with our feet together and take an inhale breath and raise your arms up above and look up. Exhale, breathe. Bring your hands to the floor. Bend your knees. Let your head come down. Inhale, breathe. Raise your head, look forward. Exhale, breathe. Come down onto your hands and your knees. Inhale, breathe into the cow pose, lift your chin. Exhale, breathe into the cat pose or down dog. And now either hold in down dog or child's pose. And we're going to breathe, inhale and exhale, 5 breaths for 1, 2, 3, good within, 4, 5. Come down onto your hands and knees if you're in down dog. Okay, and swivel your legs around so you can come to seated and bring both of your legs in front of you. Take both of your legs in front of you, and let's try to touch our toes. Now, touching the toes doesn't mean you have to touch the toes. It means touch as close to the toes as you can get. A couple of options are to grab your shins. Another one is to take a prop and hook it around your feet like a strap. Or if you can touch your toes, grab your toes. All right, try the cow position. So cow position is where you lift your chin to extend. Good, and then exhale, do the cat position where you just let your head drape forward. And then fold as far forward on top of your legs as your body will allow. You're gonna reach your edge, you're gonna feel your edge, you're gonna feel that point where it just feels tight, where the muscles start talking to you, you can feel them stretching. Good, now just try to breathe. Think of if you're having a conversation with your musculature, and if your muscles are getting a little like rambunctious and they're like really getting a little angry and talking to you, like, why are you pulling on me? Why are you pushing on me so hard? I don't like this. Then your answer to them is you breathe. And you breathe deeply. And that just like if someone starts an argument, if you don't engage in the argument, the argument eventually will dissipate. And so similar with the body, sometimes we approach, like the wrong thing to do, in my opinion, is to hold the breath and then to like struggle and start fighting with yourself. Like, don't do that. Start breathing and just let your breath be the response. And this usually, if you take this approach, this is where we typically have the best results. because we're learning. It's a really actually a pretty amazing lesson. We start communicating on our own, like with ourselves, really. You just start breathing, inhale and exhale, let go. So there's also this idea that we have intellect and we have higher intellect. And the higher intellect is really just this idea of being able to observe, to like just passively observe. So we want to try to transfer into that higher intellect mode. We just observe the body, just respond with breath. All right, great work. Go ahead and release and come all the way up. Now try, lean back on your hands and bend your both knees and bring your feet together and then grab your feet and try to pull your feet in. And naturally the knees are going to want to lift up. So what we're going to do is try to pull on the feet and lean forward and use the leaning forward to get your knees to go down. Now sometimes it feels like we're hanging on for dear life, like we might fall backward. If that's the case, take a prop like a blanket or a block and sit on top of it, because that's going to give you a little bit of leverage. The higher you lift the hips, the easier it is to sit up straight. The more you can sit up straight, the more you can lean forward. The more you can lean forward, the more your hips open, and you stretch your body and go as far forward as your hips will allow. Continue to breathe, inhale and exhale through the nose. And we're holding a little longer so that we give ample time for things to shift. And just see if you can just take your time here and just breathe. Let's work on your hip flexibility. That's good. Excellent. One thing that often becomes apparent is one hip is more flexible than the other, therefore one knee is higher than the other. So strategy is to figure out which knee is higher and to try to lean in on the tighter side. See if you can lean on the tight side. And then once both sides are at the same level, then try to lean evenly forward. Good. All right, and then release that and slowly bring your body up and lean back on your hands and take your legs in straight and then separate them. Now you might need to keep your hands on the floor. Look at your feet for a moment. And if your feet like to roll outward, try to bring them so they're up and then dorsiflex so your toes are turning back towards you. Notice when you do that, the back of your knees get down to the floor and you want to squeeze your quads so your legs are nice and straight. Some of you might want to hold here with your hands on the floor to be able to get your chest up. Some of you might be able to do that and grab your feet. If you can grab your feet or your legs and start to fold forward, continue the forward folding motion, aim in the direction of bringing the chin down or the head down onto the ground. It doesn't matter if the head touches the ground or not. That doesn't equal success. Success in yoga equals being present and just feeling where your body is in the moment and going to your edge and then just working the breath. In and out. Just let your hamstrings release. This also does a great job of opening up the abductor muscles in the inside or inner thigh. And as you fold forward, just relax into your hips. Good. And then we're going to transition here by slowly peel yourself back up. Do some hip opening. Let's see if that makes Sukhasana, easy pose, a little easier. Can you cross your legs in the classic meditation style position? Good. Now, can you fold forward? So maybe folding forward for us might mean just leaning a little bit on the hands or elbows on the knees. Some of you might be able to touch your hands on the floor. Some of you might be able to slide your hands forward on the floor. And some of you might be able to touch your head down onto the ground. Again, find a happy medium and just try to relax. Sitting on the floor is one of the best prescriptions for hip opening. Getting out of the chair and down on the floor. Good. And then just feel your breath again. Come back to breath. Come back to breath awareness. And breathe in and out. Use your development of this technique throughout the day. Master it here when we're together in class. And then when you get into a really stressful situation outside or in your day-to-day, remember the breath technique and use your breathing technique all the time. All the time. You can practice yoga for all the hours that you're awake by just being aware of your breath. Just breath awareness is a profound yoga technique. So, but we learn it and master it, practice it here. Breathe in and out, nice and steady. Good. All right, slowly bring your body up. Let's do a twist. Put your left hand on your right knee, which is going to be that one over there. Good. Put your right hand on the floor behind you, and then gently rotate your spine and see if you can turn your chin over your right shoulder and look behind you. It's a nice spine twist position. Nice and easy, gentle, mellow, rotate, twist. Good. Let's go the other way. Come back to middle, cross over right hand to left knee, left hand to floor behind, rotate left, chin toward left shoulder. Excellent. Keep breathing. Good. In and out. Notice that on the out breath, that's where there's often a little more room for twisting deeper. In breath might put a little tension on it, but the out breath will give you potentially some room to grow, stretch into. Good. Okay, come back to middle. Lie down on your back. We're going to do the thread the needle as our variation for the pivot prep pose today. Let me have you lie down on your back and bend both of your knees so the feet are hip width. And then just take your right leg and cross it over your left leg. And if the hips are tight, this might be as far as you go. What you can do is put your right hand on your right knee and try to stretch the right hip joint by pressing the knee away from your shoulders, away from you, more or less. Now, if you have enough range to lift your left foot off of the floor, there's a little gap there, a hole, that you can slide your right arm through to grab your left knee. And then you take your left hand as well and reach up and grab the knee with your right hand. And then pull downward and just stretch into the right hip joint. So just go nice and easy on this. And it is really important that you don't have any knee pain when you do this. And if there is some knee pain, you're curious, like, how do I not have knee pain when I do this? There are a couple answers. One of them that often works quite well is the movement of the dorsiflex. That's where you take your foot and you pull the toes towards you. If you do that with your foot, ankle, while you stretch your hip, often that tightens the ligament tendon around the knee and it stabilizes the knee joint. So that now you can put that pressure in on the hip and your knee is going to feel a lot better. You may not even need to do that, but I want to give you options in case that's happening for you. Breathe, inhale and exhale. Good, just let go of any tension. And we're going to let go. Let your left foot come down. Let's uncross and recross, meaning right foot on floor, and then recross, meaning left foot over your right knee, on top of your right knee. And you can hold here, just push the knee away from you, or we can thread the needle and lift the right foot and take your left arm and go through that gap, that little kind of hole, like the idea of the eye of a needle. You just thread the thread through, and then pull the right knee down. In essence, you'd be directing your right knee and left inner ankle downward toward the right side chest or shoulder. And just feel your left hip and just put a little pressure on it. And rest assured that in knowing that the effort you put in, it's working. This is working. This does work. Just a little bit of energy each day toward mobility. And it can go a long way. Just keep holding, keep breathing, soften your back, relax your hip, use the dorsiflex and ankle if you need it to stabilize your knee. Just feel that dynamic quality of stretch in your hip and feel your breath continuous. Nice, everyone. All right, we're going to do one more. Release, lower your right foot down and your left foot. And let's bring the feet together and drop the knees open into that butterfly position. So we'll do one more hip stretch here where you just try to relax your hips completely. If you need to wedge your hands or fists under the sides of your femurs by your hips, that can create a little yoga block props that will help to make it a little softer. But if you can sustain full pressure down into your hips with the knees apart like this, just take it here, hold it here for a moment, and let it release, let it relax. Great job. And then go ahead and bring your knees up and then lower one leg and then the other leg down and come into your final resting position, which is the same place we began. But a few things you might observe is that the nervous system has gotten a little more chilled out. The breathing feels natural and easy and you're perhaps connected, feeling a little more connected with your breath. Another outcome of yoga practice can be so there's this philosophy in yoga that deep down at our true essence, at our core, is bliss. And sometimes we hold layers of stress and tension and we crack into a few of those layers and we shed a few of those layers, and then bliss is what we find, or some contentment, or some just kind of just feeling a little more peaceful, easy going. Sometimes that happens with yoga practice. Okay, let everything go, your legs, your arms, your jaw, your belly. Just so you're in a deep state of ease and wonder. Just let the heart beat, feel the circulation. Great job, everybody. You all are very welcome. You're more than welcome to stay here for as long as you would like. So you can enjoy or take Shavasana for as long as feels appropriate for you today. Those of you practicing at home, of course, as well, you're in your home environment, so you can just even take a nap if you like. Those of you in the studio, if you want to take a nap, that's cool. I'm going to be here for a few more hours, so I promise you I'll wake you up before I lock up. Have a great day. Enjoy. Namaste.
Namaste.